Hi, I'm Jessica Rudnicki with Reynolds & Reynolds. Welcome back to Connected. Today we welcome back Jared Klein, Regional Sales Director for Naked Line Marketing, to talk about why it's important now more than ever to perform digital audits and analyze your ad spend. Let's get connected. Hi, Jared. We're glad to have you back on the podcast. Thanks so much for hopping on today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Jared, I'm hoping you can talk about auditing advertising strategies today. So in the digital retail space, we talk a lot about how quickly customer needs and expectations can change, and how every business needs to personalize their content, not only to their own operations, but to those needs and expectations, right? So when you're talking to your dealerships about their advertising strategy, how do you start a conversation about auditing their ad accounts?
Yeah. So when we first start talking with dealerships, we do talk about Google advertising as a great way for dealerships to run ads to be able to get in front of consumers during important buying points in the buying process for them. So that's a huge part of their marketing strategy. But we often have to remind them that Google advertising isn't a set it and forget it um, system. Their algorithm is updating almost daily, so we need to be making sure that you're updating your campaigns to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. Um, the reality is that while Google has set defaults, the dealership needs to be looking at their keyword strategies regularly to make sure that they're showing up for the right spots without spending a crazy amount of money. Auditing, while it sounds like an intimidating word, really is just to be able to dig deeper past the default settings to look at the nitty gritty of the accounts. Dealerships often aren't told about some of these advanced settings, and they definitely aren't usually looking at these settings.
Yeah. So the details that you're kind of getting into aren't covered by these standard settings that Google will put in place. So what kind of settings and content should you look for then during the audits?
So working with dealerships, we look for a few key factors right off the bat for it. A couple things that we've noticed as we've gone through this are, the first thing is, are they marketing outside their primary marketing area? This seems like a simple thing, but you'd be surprised how many dealerships we run across where they have a large portion of their advertising budget being spent on consumers outside of their state or even outside of their country, where these consumers are clicking through to the website, spending money or taking money out of their advertising budget, and they're never going to buy a vehicle there, or definitely never going to service their vehicle there. Another piece that we look at is, are you appearing for the right searches? This takes a little more maintenance than readjusting a few settings, because you need to review what searches you were showing for in the past and make sure that those are the right searches and terms for you to show up for moving forward. This maintenance includes negative keywords. We see a lot of dealerships getting hurt by this specifically. Let's say a Chevy dealership is running a ad for the newest Tahoe, and a customer searches for a 2019 Chevy Cruze. Well, the Tahoe ad may still show up, but we have an opportunity to sell a Cruze to this customer. But because we're serving them a Tahoe ad, we're really ignoring that customer's direct inquiry. The dealership should be having a campaign for both the Tahoe and the Cruze, and have negative keywords set up so that our ads aren't triggering for like phrases like new Chevy or new Chevrolet for both campaigns. The third example that we typically look for is, where are we directing consumers after they've clicked through to the ad? This again is something that seems pretty simple to figure out, but there are a lot of horror stories that we've run through seeing this. So if a customer, let's say, is searching for a Chevy Tahoe, well, we should be taking that customer to a vehicle inventory sort page or a vehicle description page. A lot of times we see dealerships that have all of their ad budgets going to the home page. Well, consumers can just click back and go to the next ad and get taken to an inventory sort page of Tahoes for that. By not having these settings set up correctly, This can affect bounce rate of your website and overall traffic for it. And it's amazing. Again, I said it earlier, but I've seen dealerships where they have 100% of their ad budget going to the homepage, and it has a really bad customer experience from that.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely good to know. And I didn't even know about the negative keywords. So thanks for educating us on that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot that goes into managing a Google Analytics and ads account. So when you make these changes, how long does it typically take to see a difference in the account?
Really depends on the changes. Some can take a few months to see significant results, but results can be dramatic and then level out. When you work with an experienced expert, as you make these changes, it's very important to see what's working and what isn't. So it can take a while to repair an inefficient marketing strategy, but when you do, the results are more efficient spend, increased traffic, better, more conversions, and then ultimately more transactions. If you're having problems with attribution, or you're not sure you're getting the appropriate amount of leads for the amount of dollars that you're spending, it's probably time for you to dig in and take a better look at your advertising and your AdWords account to find out if there's any gaps that we discussed earlier. And there's even many, many more of these gaps that we didn't highlight, but you should really talk to an expert about, are you getting the most bang for your buck?
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously in the environment we're in today, it's different for dealerships, right? So how do we continue navigating Google AdWords and ad spend in this environment?
Yeah, we're operating in a really unpredictable economy right now. Some months are 1 month is going to be different than the next, and even week to week, it's going to be very different. So these kinds of audits are becoming more important than they were before. Rather than simply pausing your ad spend, you should really prioritize your goals so you can reallocate your spend so you can continue seeing results through this time. These audits shouldn't really be about getting more money and spending more money with your advertising partner, but rather it's about spending your money smarter as opposed to just throwing money out there for it. Again, I hit it earlier, but Google's advertising isn't a one-time fix or a set it, forget it. So you need to be monitoring and adapting your advertising strategy online to make sure that you're getting the most leads and most bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's extremely helpful information. Thanks for sharing and educating us on ad spend and auditing, Jared. And thanks for being here today. Before we hop off, is there anything else that you'd like to share, or maybe any other best practices you want to go over with our audience while we have them?
Uh, you know, the only thing that is I had to share is, don't be afraid to get into your AdWords and analytics account yourself. Even if you're not a certified expert, the more you learn about your account and the strategies that your partner is doing, the better a strategic conversation you can have with them to make your plan moving forward.
Great advice. Great advice. Thanks again, Jared.
Yep. Thank you.
Great information from Jared today on the importance on analyzing your ad spend so you can identify areas of improvement. Before we hop off, just a quick reminder, you can watch or listen to past and future podcast episodes on YouTube or Apple and Spotify podcast by searching for the Connected Podcast. Subscribe on these channels to get notified every Wednesday when new episodes are released. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.